Hey guys, it's CJ here. Today I'm going to be doing a bookish video instead of a gaming one. This was always my intention to do both bookish and gaming. That's why my channel's name is Ceejays.Bookshelf. That and I wanted it to be the same as my Instagram instead of having like 50 different names everywhere, because then it gets confusing and how do you find me? So this is my first one. This is definitely something I'm going to incorporate more. I want to once a week do a let's play and once a week do a bookish video, and occasionally on weekends do a bit of whatever else interests me. Today I'll be doing a book haul. This won't be a monthly thing. I don't buy I buy a lot of books, but like slowly over time. This month I bought a ridiculous amount of books because Facebook Marketplace was really good to me. So yeah, most of them are in behind me on that side. So we'll be pulling that out soon, so that shelf will then go empty. You can also see my mess here, and I'm regretting that decision. Alright, so let's get into it. The first books that I bought were not long after Christmas, and essentially I went to Big W, and I'm gonna blame my grandma on this, okay, because I went to see her. She had just gotten back from seeing my uncle up at Queensland, and I was in Big W and I was waiting for the call to say, "Hi sweetheart, I'm home." That's legit what she said. Don't know why I did that, but yeah, and I'm like, I'll just look at the bookshelves. I should have known it was a bad decision, but I'd gotten so many books for Christmas that I thought, I'll be fine. I don't need to buy more books. I didn't need to, but I did. My shoulders look weird. I'm so not used to. I'm used to me being little and in the corner. But the first book that I picked up was The Stasi by Erin Morgenstern. Morgenstern. I loved The Night Circus, and this came out last year and I wanted it. I don't often pick up books as soon as they come out unless there's something I really, really want, and while I did really want this, it wasn't something I needed straight away, but it was $16 for this giant paperback. I love the big paperbacks. I'm not used to doing bookish videos, so I'm going to be moving the book around, and I'm very, very sorry, but whatever. This, I don't actually know what it's about. All I know is that she wrote it, and it's kind of like an ode to books and writing, and it's beautiful, and I'm going to enjoy it. I don't need to know more. A strange book in a university library. It leads into a quest like any other. That's all I need to know. That and Erin Morgenstern. The second book I got was After the Flood by Cassandra Montaigne. This was also my first read of the year. I will be doing a wrap up on the weekend, or on Friday I'll record it. It'll be up next week, because I've still got to finish one more book. I'm going to finish it today, I reckon, and I've got 2 more days left of the month, so it's fine, we're right. This one is a dystopian. Yeah, it's an adult dystopian where basically flood waters. I need to sneeze. Oh my god. It's a dystopian novel where waters and floods are happening to the point where people had to migrate to the tops of mountains. Like, it now there's heaps of water. People live on water. And it's 20 years after that, and it's following a mother and her daughter as they try to survive. She also has another daughter. Pearl is the youngest one who lives with her in the boat, and Ro is the one that was taken from her by her father just before the flooding got too bad and they evacuated on their own boat. And it follows her finding out where she's been held and trying to figure out how to get there and get there back now that she knows that she's alive. She had just given up searching, and now she's got to try it again. I'll be putting more thoughts into my wrap up, and hopefully I'll be explaining it better, because I'm trying to explain it now, but because I know what happens in the novel, I'm trying not to spoil anything. which is really hard because now I know what happens. The book I got on the same day, and I got it because of the cover. I also got the last one because of the cover. There are no one more adult books, but this one is The Age of Anxiety by Pete Townsend, and I'm going to read the back because there's a lot happening. A former rock star disappears on the Cumberland moors. When his wife finds him, she discovers he has become a hermit and a painter of apocalyptic visions. An art dealer has drug-induced visions of demonic faces swirling in a steed? And soon his wife disappears, nowhere to be found. A beautiful Irish girl who has stabbed her father to death is determined to seduce her best friend's husband, because why not, bro? A young composer begins to experience oral hallucinations, or like aura. I know I pronounced that weird, but I can't pronounce it. Expressions of fear and anxiety of people in London. He constructs a maze in his back garden. Driven by passion and musical ambition, events spiral out of control. Good drugs and bad drugs, love lost and found, families broken apart and reunited. That's not important. Yeah, it just kind of sounded, well, I mean, look at this cover. It sounds psychedelic and crazy. And when I looked up all of the reviews, because I'd never heard of it, the sun's really bright, so I'm just going to lean back. It sounded, I wanted to look up the reviews because this is a little bit different to what I normally read. And the reviews were good, but they also mentioned that it's not what you would expect from a novel written by a former rock star. And when I got home, I looked him up because I'm like, I thought I recognized the name. And he's in the band The Who, which, I mean, I love the band, but obviously not enough to know the names of its members. So I thought that was interesting, and I really want to know his take on it. Also, if you hear like a little rattling sound, it's because my fan is on next to me. I'm not turning it off because it's 34 degrees. That's a little warm. Just a little bit. My next book before digging in behind me is, for Christmas I got Scythe by Neil Shusterman, and I read it and I had to go out and get the next two books. So I have, there we go, Thunderhead and The Toll. When I went in, I'm like, I'm just going to get the second one, and then I'm like, but what happens if I read it and like the first one, I need the next one? So I bought it, and I'm glad I did because it was on sale. This one was on sale for $8. So awesome. I obviously can't say the plot for these two because they are sequels, but the plot of the first one is essentially a utopian world in which death has been eliminated, as well as crime and my cat's growling at my brother's dog who's here. They like each other. She just likes to growl. What was I saying? Utopian world in which death, crime, the poor and everything like that has been eliminated. However, there's still population control that needs to be done. So the Scythes are in charge of that, and they go around and they glean people. And this follows the story of two new Scythe apprentices as they learn the trade. Behind the scenes, there is also political things happening. There is a group that you couldn't call it gleaning; they're murdering people. So there's also that they have to deal with. And the ending was very, very well done. I get why a lot of people would have a problem with it. I know everyone's raving about the book, but the only cons I've seen are really about the ending, but I loved it. I thought it was perfect. So yes. And then my next books were the ones that were behind me, so now that's black and empty. It looks really weird. You can see my pile here. I got quite a few. Basically, I got a bargain on Facebook Marketplace. This woman who was lovely to speak with was selling a bunch of high fantasy novels for $4 each. And I had just finished Assassin's Apprentice and Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb. Do you know where this is going? I got a lot of Robin Hood books. I got the third book in the it's not the Royal Assassin trilogy, it's the Farseer trilogy. This is the third and final book in that trilogy. It follows Fitz, who is the bastard of a prince, and he's left on the doorstep of his uncle, who then puts... He's the stable master in charge of raising him and looking after him, but he was also very close with Fitz's father. And eventually it leads to King Shrewd, they have cool names, enlisting him to be a king's man, and he trains him up to be a fighter, a warrior. It gives him lessons, so he's essentially has the same education as if he were a royal, despite the fact that he is a bastard and he's no one else views him that way. And eventually he becomes an assassin for the king, and it follows him, and there's a lot of political intrigue, and it's fantastic. They're very slow books, very character driven, but amazing. I listened to the audiobooks for the first two, and I will for this one as well. I don't know about the next. I'll decide when I do. I then got... I'm going to do these End of Traders trilogy, The Ship of Magic. This follows a young woman who wants to be who is waiting for the ship Vivacia to go under the quickening, which is basically this magical thing with wizard wood. Sorry, my dog's there. That makes the ship magical and able to go through perilous journeys. And I'm not entirely sure who they face or whatnot. I didn't want to read too much into it because this does take place after the Farseer trilogy. The books can all be read separately, but there is a chronological order. So yeah, that's all I know about it. Is they're kind of like magical ships. And yeah, there's also a pirate. Book is The Golden Fool, which is the second book in the Tawny Man trilogy. This comes after the Live Ship Traders, however this one follows Fitz again. Once again, I don't think I've read the back of this one because I don't want to know what happens to Fitz in the third book, but it follows him. I obviously know he's alive. It follows him and whatever he faces. Next set is not a trilogy, but a quartet. That's what you're meant to call them, I think. Quartets? I don't know. But I have The Dragon Keeper, The City of Dragons, which is book 3. I had them out of order. Dragon Haven, and Blood of Dragons. I'm just going to hold up this one. There. Oh, my stack has just fallen. These ones are the tiny mass maker paperback, which I do hate, but once again, $4. So cheap. And then this one, I do hate when series same size, but whatever. This is, as mentioned before, I love giant paperbacks. This takes place also in the Realm of the Elderlings universe. This takes place after the Tawny Man. But this one follows... oh my god, I know it. The words are just not coming to my mouth. I'm so bad at this. Basically, there was a land where a dragon helped save the people. And for payment, I guess, the people then were in charge of looking after the eggs of the dragons and the young. And getting tired of this and the dangers that it brings, they decided to take the eggs to the original birthplace of the dragons. And that's all I know about it. This book is probably the one I'm most excited about. I'll probably read these after reading the 3 separate trilogy that follows Fitz Chivalry and his journey. I am interested in Live Ship Traders, but I'm interested in this one more. It's got dragons, guys. Dragons! And my third and final stack is, I can't remember what this trilogy is called. the Three Soldiers trilogy, and this one has, they are all out of order again. Shaman's Crossing, Forest Mage, and Renegade Magic. This one is not in the realm of the Elderlings. It follows completely different people. It essentially follows a soldier. I think it's not recording. I don't quite know what happened. The lighting has also gone down behind the tree. I'm sorry, I picked a really bad time to film, but it was the only time I had today. But it follows a soldier whose father had just been raised in rank, so he is now higher in station than what he was, and he is now training to be a soldier at a military camp, and he's kind of getting a lot of crap from all the rich boys. I don't know much about this one. This is the only series that before buying I hadn't actually heard about, but I've enjoyed the Assassin's Apprentice first 2 books so much that I was willing to buy these, especially for how cheap they were. And I'm excited to eventually get to these. I don't know when these will be on my shelf, probably forever, because I have so many other Robin Hood books to get to, but I hope to be flying through them. But yes, that was my first ever book haul. It was a bit of a mess. I'm sorry. I will get better at it. Hopefully. But I hope you enjoy. I probably should have said this at the start, but if you're not interested in my bookish videos, that's fine. Just watch my gaming ones. If you are interested in them and you like them, I'd appreciate that. Or if you're only interested in my bookish videos and not my gaming ones, come watch my bookish videos. I'm happy for you to pick and choose whatever content you want to watch. I just want to do this because I think it's fun and I like entertaining people, and I find these videos entertaining, so hopefully you find my videos entertaining, even though I'm a bit of a mess. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Bye bye now.